Hello everyone, welcome back to the Toy Corner. My name is Fed and today we'll be adding 6 new Masterverse figures to the shelf. Yes, 6, you heard me correctly. I know you can only see 5, but you'll have to take my word for it. There is a 6th one hiding back here. I'm sure I've mentioned before, but Masterverse is a toy line that I am trying to collect in its entirety to the best of my ability, so there are going to be further and further videos in the future. But who cares about all that? Let's just get into the figures. Starting off our theme today, we have Masters of the Universe Revelation Skelegod. He has the usual Masterverse artwork, blurb. And of course we have the window on which we can see the figure and all these lovely accessories that I can't wait to get my grubby little hands on. And here he is out of the box, and what a look for Skeletor, or Skelegod, as it were. The design team for Revelation really knew what they were doing. These capes, it's a felt cape, it sticks to itself, but it's a really nice look. I wish it was a little bit bigger, I kind of wish it extended all the way out here, but it is a really, really nice looking cape. We have these skull-themed boots, skull-themed loincloth belt thing, these sort of skull armor things on his wrists. On his shoulders have those nice horned beetle skull designs. He has a neck made out of fire. He has these curling, twisting horns that just look great. And of course he kind of has a H symbol, like the He-Man symbol on his chest. He is, after all, channeling the power of Grayskull. But be it the blacks, the silvers, the greens, the purples, and the dark blues, everything just comes together to make old Skullface here look as imposing as ever. There is no question that this is a Skeletor that you need to mind your step around. He is not playing around. He is playing, in fact, for keeps. Straight out of the box, of course, we have these open hands. They're not gripping hands. There's nothing really that he could grip on outside of a human finger or something of the size there, but they are just open, dramatic hands. And of course it comes with a pair of gripping hands, which were a little bit difficult to get on because these pieces, these armor pieces, are very loose. They can come off. It's a nice feature that you can take those off, but they do make swapping the hands a little bit more difficult than I feel it needed to be. He, of course, comes with the Sword of Power. After all, he would have to use the sword to get the powers of Grayskull, since he is not the champion deemed worthy by the sorceress. And his gripping hands can actually hold on to that sword. It goes in and out really, really easily because they are a little bit, if I'm not thinking here, the fingers are just a little bit flexible, so getting it in and out, quite easy. His only other accessory is this green fireball. At least I believe it's fire. Perhaps he just had a rather large sneeze. Now, big and bulky as he is, this is still the basic male body, so if you wanted to, you could take his gauntlets and you could put them on someone else. His ball joint head comes off, you could put another head on this body if you really wanted to. The shoulder pads, they don't really come off, and the cape doesn't really come off either. It's sort of attached in. You can see those rivets in there. It's sort of attached in. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe it does come off. I haven't really played with it too much just because it didn't feel like it wanted to come off, and I don't want to break my toy. And here's one of the times where I get to immediately correct myself and feel like a fool. Go ahead, have a good laugh at me. You see, actually this body is quite a bit larger than the stock male torso and arms and everything there. It's quite a bit larger, both in muscle size. It's a little hard to see with all his pads on there, but I mean, you can see by the stature of the figures, there's quite a height difference there. But you know what they say, if you're going to be wrong, be confidently wrong, at least until you're caught and admit your mistakes. If you do so happen to have both versions of Skeletor, he poses nicely with the Havoc Staff and the Power Sword. That is the ultimate version of Skeletor, the power of Havoc with the power of Grayskull combined. Such a menacing figure, cannot wait to add him to the shelf. Next up for Revelation, we have Man-at-Arms sporting his classic look as seen in the flashbacks. As usual, he has artwork, blurb, and window box, open box. And here's our Man-at-Arm Duncan out of the box. And take a good look at this upgraded classic version of this figure. Classic look, I should say, and a new version of this figure. He's got, of course, the Man-at-Arms helmet, the armor, the arm piece, the leg piece, the green, the gold, it's all there. Straight out of the box, we have one gripping hand and one open relaxed hand. Of course, we can swap that up, so the open hand is now here, and the gripping hand is now over here. And of course, some fist, because every now and then, you just gotta give them a bit of the business. And the final accessory is this lovely club. It does look like it would do a good job of bonking people, if the bonking were necessary. I assume this is a carryover from the classic toy, not so much the classic cartoon show, because Man-at-Arms should have many, many arms available, I would assume. Aside from accessories, the chest piece, the arm piece, the lower arm piece, and of course, the boot piece are all removable, which is how you can get some of that interactivity between the figures. Let me show you. Since their heads are on a ball joint that's all the same size, you could have He-Man dressed as Man-at-Arms in the full green and gold outfit if you want. Or just for fun, you could completely swap their armor. That's not a bad look for He-Man. I kind of like this as a battle armor, Man-at-Arms armor on He-Man, and of course we have the most powerful Man-at-Arms in the universe here with the power sword and He-Man's chest armor, and of course his wrist guard. But however you decide to mix and match or play, options are always a good thing. Take note, companies, toy companies, options, mixing and matching, always wonderful. For the purposes of the toy shelf, though, I will be leaving him in this look. At least for now, I'm sure my son and I will be mixing and matching pieces to no end in the future. But for now, to the shelf you go. Up next is Beastman from Revelation, and you better be at least 6 years old if you want to add this one to the collection. As usual, we have artwork on the side, artwork on the back, the blurb, and yes, the lovely window box displaying all the hands that you get with this guy. Let's open him up. Out of the package, he is large, he is lanky, he is hairy, he is orange, he is going commando. Well, there's not much to him. The blue and orange do pop nicely, and he has that face makeup, face paint. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe his fur just looks like that. Who knows? He really is minimalistic, but at the same time, he has a lot of great detail. The hair on the back, the spikes coming out of the head, the beard that's tied off. He still has some wristbands. His claws are a nice color. He's got those hairy feet. He's got some ankle bands, and there's even a bit of a gradient tone. If we take a look back here, gradient tone to his fur. It just it really stands out. I mean, it's a really nice little figure. I did enjoy Beastman's portrayal in Revelation. Again, I don't really have that childhood connection to these characters, although I really do think that had I had this available to watch, I would have loved this. The orange, the blue, I think that Beastman probably would have been one of my favorite characters, but it's hard to say when all I can do is think on it retroactively. If we get a little bit closer, we see the open hand and the gripping hand, and also some nice scarring on the chest that I hadn't quite noticed at first. I know I saw it, but I didn't see it, if you understand that at all. As usual, we can swap those out, so the grippies over here and the open claws over here. And speaking of claw, these are a bit sharp. Be careful handling this guy if you happen to have him. A little bit painful. And as usual, we have the fist, because even the Beastman has to give the business every now and again. His weapon accessory is the whip. It's all one solid color, and yes, this does move around. It is a string, fits nicely in his hand. Wasn't that hard to get in there, so all good things. The only thing that I question here is he does, on his belt, have a little holder for said whip. You can see the hole there. And this little point does fit into there, but it sticks out kind of awkwardly, and I'm not really sure what to do with the rest of the string. It's not to say that you can't get creative with it, I just don't know when I'll have the interest or opportunity to pose him with his whip put away. Either way, he is a solid figure, holds his weapon well, stands pretty decently. I haven't had that much trouble standing him, getting him to pose, and all in all, it's a wonderful figure to add to the shelf, so let's get him there. Moving right along, we have the 40th anniversary He-Man, a He-Man design to resemble the He-Man from way back in the 80s, 1982 I think it was. I'm just not great at these facts off the top of my head, but as you can see, the box has sort of a reminiscent of the exploding rocks, the red and blue of the original Masters of the Universe line, and I have to be honest, I think I like this design this look of this box just a bit more than the regular Masterverse. I think they should have done this for the whole line, but yeah, well. We actually don't have any artwork of the character on the side. It's just a continuation of the box, but of course we do have some gorgeous artwork on the back. Look at that He-Man, look at that Battle Cat, look at that Skeletor. Wonderful. And we don't have a blurb this time. We just have a little bit of text on the back talking about the 40th anniversary. Again, read if you would like. Of course, we have our lovely window letting us see the figure inside, the accessories he comes with, and of course this lovely little foil. It's not a sticker, it's really on there, but celebrating the 40th anniversary. But what say we go ahead and crack this open. And here's our 40th anniversary He-Man out of the box. You can already see he has a bit of a different body sculpt than the other He-Man. I'll compare the two a little bit later. But we have an orangish color here, we have a more reddish color for the boots and the loincloth, also more of an orangish color here. He has the more classic look for his chest armor, and of course his head is sculpted to look more like the toy from 40 years ago. One thing that's interesting about this toy is I actually remember him getting pretty cheap not long after he first came out, which is interesting to me because honestly, given the design of this guy and just the legacy behind him and the fact that I really enjoyed Masters of the Universe Revolution, even if I wasn't collecting Masterverse, I probably would have picked this guy up from my shelf. Now, this isn't the first release of this version of this He-Man. That was actually in a San Diego Comic-Con deluxe set with He-Man and a Skeletor that had a classic look. And they never did release the Skeletor separately, but they did release the He-Man. Oh, this one's a bit different. They did release the He-Man separately, which is nice. Straight out of the box this time, we actually have 2 grippy hands all ready to go. Alternatively, he has 1 fist and 1 open, relaxed hand. I'm pretty sure this is the shield hand. I think that's what I'm going to call it, although the shield that he comes with is probably better off with the grippy hands, but we'll get to that. For accessories, of course, we have the Sword of Power, and this one was a little bit warped in the box, but I think I might be able to straighten that out. And of course, we have his classic shield with the orange sections, and of course, the metal cross. And this is what I was talking about, that the gripping hand would look better in the shield. I'm sure the other hand can slide under there just fine. In fact, it might even be easier to get on because, take note, I did have to attach the hand to the shield before the arm. And just like the classic figure did, just like I believe the Origins figure does, he comes with his classic battle axe. Trusty axe for chopping when you need to chop. His wrist is articulated in such a way that he can actually hold his sword straight up to call on the power of Grayskull. And when his sword is not in use, it slides nicely into the weapon storage on his back. I always like weapon storage, big plus for me. And for the swappable armor feature, his chest piece comes off, and his wristband comes off. This wristband does not come off, reaffirming that my other He-Man's is also not supposed to. And speaking of that other He-Man, here they are together, just so you can get an idea of the difference between the two. I think the main thing that they really changed outside of the colors and the Swords of Power's design is that the chest on this He-Man is much larger than the chest on this He-Man. It's bulked out, it sticks out. I think the rest of the body is pretty much the same, but just that one little detail, I think, makes that a more attractive, more interesting body, a better body for He-Man, for the toy. Although when comparing the Swords of Power, I think this He-Man having the brown wrap and the 2-color blade, the silver there and the dull gray there, wins out over this just all one color. Maybe this was supposed to be a call out to the original toy, but honestly, I think they could have had the blade be this kind of silver color there, and they could have also had maybe a white wrap or something to delineate the handle from the rest of the sword. But either way, both great figures, happy to add them to the shelf. Well, he's been on the shelf, but I'm happy to add him to the shelf. Continuing on, here is Teela as the Sorceress, or as the box puts it, Sorceress Teela. This is our first figure from Revolution, and the first of the newer boxes that we have for the Masterverse. It's still Masterverse, but for the Masterverse line, they changed up the boxes. I think they wanted to use a little bit less plastic in here. Instead of a very large window box, we just have a smaller little window there, which is fine. It still gives an idea of the figure. It still gives a little view of the accessory. We have some really nice artwork over here. I like that. I think this is better in that way than the plain blue boxes. And you do have a little bit of that exploding, floating stone like the original toys had, like the 40th anniversary one had that I really liked. On this side is where the artwork starts. We have the sorceress, Tila's mother, sort of sitting behind her, taking on the role of the sorceress. She's all spectral and ghosty. On this side, we have Tila standing over Tila, just showing you this is Tila, in case you didn't know this is Tila. And on the back, we have the toy on display, showing off some of the different things she comes with, different features. And of course, we have the little blurb that's much smaller, and the cross-sell on the back, which has been on most of the other ones, but I don't always point it out. But it's there. It's there. But of course, as nice as this box is, it's still getting open. And here's the sorceress Tila out of the box. And I'll have to be honest, as well I like the look of this figure, I'm a little bit disappointed with the lack of accessories that she has. I mean, the other Tila had 2 heads. It was nice, 2 different looks. This one's just stuck with this one look, no alternate face or anything like that. And she's a little bit hard to get standing. I actually did invest in some stands, and I don't want to fight with her, so we're just going to get her on a stand. I really do like the look of this Tila. The outfit's really nice. You have you have a stern face. Would have been nice to have another face, but as that aside, you have the white and the gold that Tila is known for, but you also have the other sort of goldish yellow and the blue that the sorceress is known for, with some bit of the feathers. It might be hard to see, but under her arm, sort of feathery there, and of course on her boots are very feathery. I think the cape looks nice. It's a cloth good cape. Wish it was a little bit wider, but maybe this is accurate, I'm not sure. But the gold and the white layered together, it looks really good. I dig it. I enjoy the look of this figure a lot, but since her skirt, of course, is soft goods, not cloth goods, she is going to be a little bit difficult to sit down, in case there's a vehicle to pose, but she does have all the articulation you would expect, with the only thing really being hindered outside the legs is the head because of her hair. She comes out of the box with her grippy hands, but she also comes with these open, sort of, maybe magic casting hands. Maybe she's putting up a barrier, holding back a spell. I'm not entirely sure. They do look a little bit oddly wrinkled to me, but at least it's an option. I like options. Options are good. And of course, she comes with the sorceress's staff, because why on earth would she not have the staff that belonged to the previous sorceress? Her mother, she has the bird motif. She shares that, so of course she'd get the staff. All in all, I do think that this design is very striking. I think there's going to be a lot of good posing opportunities for this figure, and I think she'll look great on the shelf with everyone else, but I won't lie, I can't quite put my finger on it, but I am just the slightest bit disappointed. Moving on, our last figure of the day, I did tell you there were 6, was a Mattel Creations exclusive. This is Masters of the Universe Revelation Dark Lynn. As you can see, she is not in a window box, she is in a box. We have this amazing artwork on the back. I would honestly love to have this as a poster on my wall. She just looks amazing there. Threatening, but also kind of cute. I don't know, don't judge me. And the sides, of course, just continue this wonderful powered-up shot of her just accessing the power of Grayskull along with the power of the Sorceress. This will be a hard box to throw out, but of course I'm probably going to. Neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and start getting it open. These ones are a little bit different. Oh, hey, look, there's the blurb. And already inside the box, we have another bit of gorgeous artwork, but we do have to get that out of the way, so... And here's Dark Lynn out of the box in all of her glory. Of course, I had to pose her with the backdrop, but that's probably going to get in the way, so... This version of Evil Lynn, Dark Lynn they call her, was at the top of my wish list after seeing the full Revelation series, and of course seeing the Masterverse line. I knew they had to make this figure. I wanted them to make this figure. The sooner the better. Just look at her. She's amazing. The purples and the blues, the multiple capes, the cloth goods, and this is a wired cape. And this wired cape just so happens to have these lovely, like, galactic star-looking things on the inside, as well as a tag. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be as prevalent as it is, but her skirt is a cloth good, except for this bit that hangs down here is just a soft plastic. She has no shoes. Everything about her is just incredible. I really have no notes, but let's get a little bit of a closer look at some of those details. She's of course got those rippling muscles that fit right into the Masters of the Universe. She has the Gray Skull symbol, sort of the He-Man H, on her chest, like you do if you're powered up the power of Gray Skull. She of course has the power of the Sorceress as well as her magic. She's just overflowing with power. You see these lovely golds, the jewels on her belt. There's also one up there. She's wearing some sort of a crown that's kind of mixed in with her hair. It's hard to see, but it's very striking. I enjoy the purple, the eye, the bat symbol sort of. It's just everything. Everything on this figure just looks so amazing. This design is great. The team at Netflix, Kevin Smith's team, did a really good job with all of these character designs. This is probably going to be in the race for my figure of the year, but that's for something for later. Don't forget you heard that. Don't worry about it. If I were to have any small complaint, it would be that this thing here is not really glued in, so it kind of comes off easy, and there are just these holes in her shoulders where this plugs in. I might put a little glue in there. I think they did that to stop possible breakage from like it getting caught in the cardboard, but I think it fits well enough, but I think some glue would be good. I was just looking around to see if the cape or anything can come off, and I just realized that these are actually on little, I don't know if you can see too well in there, but they're actually on little joints. These are articulated shoulder armor things. I don't think anything comes off, but then again, really, what would you want to take off? The skirt, I don't think that looks that great on He-Man. He can pull off a lot of looks, but I just don't think that's him. The cape would have been interesting, but since it's attached to the shoulders, and the shoulders, they just don't look like they could. I don't know, there's some Velcro back there. Let's play around a little. So as it turns out, the cape is on Velcro. You can undo these two latches, and you can take it out of these two slots, which of course gives her another look, but unfortunately wouldn't allow her to share her armor with anyone. This cape could not be put on anyone else, but it might make it a little bit easier for posing, or just to take this away and give you another look for the figure. And as I'm always saying, options are good, but let's put it back on. Luckily, the cape wasn't that difficult to get back on. The Velcro is nice and stiff, so it slides through pretty easily. But for hands, we have her sort of relaxed, open hands. That's what she comes with out of the box. She comes with a set of grippies, like all good figures should. Maybe you want to give her her staff. She doesn't really have anything to hold on to here, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll find something for her to hold. She has a lovely set of fists for giving you the business if she needs to. And she has some glowy magic hands that do appear only to fit on the open hands, open relaxed hands. They don't fit on the fists or anything else. There's sort of a, you can see it. If you look inside, there's sort of a slot that really only fits the open hands. There you see, I told you I'd get her something to hold, but that is Dark Lynn. Wonderful look for the character. My only real gripe, of course, is this being loose. Other than that, A+ figure. Cannot wait to add her to the shelf. So let's go ahead and do that. And there we have 6 new figures added to the collection, added to the shelf. And in case you couldn't figure out what the theme was, each one of these figures, each one of these characters I have added to the shelf in a different form. This was just alternate versions. I want to thank you so much for watching to the end, for taking this next step in my toy collector journey, adding figures to the shelf while removing funds from my bank account. And as always, be sure to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, simply take care.